You mean to pitch? Okay, I can pitch.
Playing a good game is fun, but
there it is. Excellent, excellent.
Being with them is a feeling that winning will never ever give me.
En Canyon Lake, Texas, Tripp Trinidad es desde hace 5 años un atleta de Olimpiadas Especiales y los deportes siempre han tenido un rol clave en su desarrollo.
It's a great way to express my emotions and to interact with friends and family and to do things that I love. So it's a vital part of my life.
It's such a great feeling to have him part of the team. Like, he's such a big help. He's always like in such a good mood.
This kid is pushing beyond limits that people have no idea, and he's not asking for that attention. He doesn't care. He just wants to compete.
Jugar softbol para el equipo unificado, un equipo conformado en parte por chicos con alguna discapacidad intelectual, ha sido su última conquista en un viaje que comenzó en el 2000.
He was born with 8-pert syndrome. His skull is fused, so it doesn't allow your brain to be able to, your skull to be able to separate as your brain is growing. And then he had webbing of the hands and the feet.
I didn't know when my son was born, will he know that I'm his mother? Will he know what it means when I say I love you? Will I ever hear him say I love you?
Tripp fue sometido a 5 cirugías, 2 de ellas en el cráneo.
When a doctor's telling you, we're gonna bring his scalp down, we're gonna put his skull back on, you're sitting there looking at these doctors telling you what they're about to do to your son, and you wanna say, no, you're not.
I remember his first time going through his head surgery that I remember was the halo. And very honestly, I was scared the first time I saw him because he had 2 big black eyes and he was all swollen and he was laying down. But as soon as I got up there and I was like, hey, Tripp, he just wanted to play video games right away.
La gran mayoría de sus compañeros en la escuela trataban a Tripp con consideración y calidez, pero no todos. Él escondió de sus padres que sufría bullying.
He was keeping us from pain by not telling us about him being shoved into lockers, being made fun of, being called an alien, sitting alone.
I've always been kind of like not letting it bother me, but there are some times where I'd go home and I'd kind of like cry in my bed because it's like I didn't understand why can't you just be okay with people being different.
Tripp buscó conectar por medio de los deportes, fútbol y lacrosse. El descubrir las Olimpiadas Especiales le dio la oportunidad de correr, jugar basquetbol y de sobresalir en ello. En la Universidad de UTSA se ha desempeñado como el utilero en jefe del equipo de fútbol.
I think allowing him to be a part of a team, whether it be the equipment room, just being a part of a group and being accepted, that's important to Tripp. And he's got a great attitude. That's one of his best qualities. He just wants to be one of the guys.
It was really neat for them to see him and say, okay, cool, and still play with him and treat him like just another athlete.
El año pasado, Tripp se dirigió al Senado de Texas para promover una iniciativa de ley que ayude a las escuelas a crear programas deportivos inclusivos para los estudiantes con discapacidades intelectuales.
Hello, Tripp. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. I hope you're all having a good day.
Probably the most nervous I've ever been. It was very, very special.
Growing up, I was never picked to play on sports teams. I was picked last. Sometimes I wasn't even picked at all. It wasn't until I got to high school that I was introduced to the Unified program.
When I watched that with my husband, we literally cried because we were just so happy and proud as parents.
El proyecto pasó y se firmó, convirtiéndose en ley en junio pasado. Ahora Tripp y su equipo unificado de softbol participarán en las Olimpiadas Especiales de Estados Unidos 2022 en Orlando.
Get that, Tripp! Get that, Tripp! Bring it in! Bring it in! Bring it in! Bring it in!
Wanting to be someone that other people can look up to and aspire to be like. You know, other kids that might have the syndrome that I have, or a physical difference, or an intellectual difference in general, and be a beacon of hope, kind of like Batman.